All right. Today is a fun day. This is something I don't do a lot. That's the last time I did was about a year ago. So, French onion soup. French onion soup's pretty relatively straightforward. It's just it takes a long time. Like it's 1:11 right now. So, we'll be eating by 5. The longer it takes, the better, the more the flavors come together and all that. The part, the hardest part of this whole thing is cutting the onions because the onions really burn my eyes. So having a mandolin helps a whole lot. So I have some nice yellow onions. Actually, I can take off a lot of this paper on the outside first. Make it go a little bit faster. So, of course, like Shrek says, an onion has layers. And that first layer you really don't need under the paper, I mean, you really don't need that either because it's not going to cook down that well and it'll kind of look funky. It'll taste about the same, but I've made that mistake of just leaving like a thicker layer when you really don't need it. So cut the onion like this. I always forget, oh yeah, cut it in half. So I always cut the opposite side of the stem end and then just cut it in half and cut that little nub off. You don't need any of that stuff. So now you have a little piece like this. I like to make sure it's all together. See, the thing with this mandolin, I can just put it, and it's got a little lip so it'll catch onto the bowl, which makes it a lot easier. So what we're looking for are pieces look like this, approximately. You're gonna run into different sizes and stuff like that. That's fine. So let's just get through this because it's gonna burn. It's gonna burn me at least. I don't know. You're supposed to put like a, what do you call it? Like a candle. I did it with my contacts one year. I haven't worn contacts in a while. The contacts kind of helped. So if you wear contacts or burn a candle, burning a candle helps a little bit more. This is a yellow onion, and it has a little bit of green. If you see like the edges, and the edges kind of look a little green, or you have like a little thick part like this will not cook down that well. It'll kind of, especially this part will be crunchy. It's not really worth your time because no matter how long you cook it, it's just going to look the same. It'll look like you just chopped it off the onion, and it looks weird. It doesn't necessarily taste bad, but just get rid of it. You have multiple onions for a reason. A, you need the volume. B, there's going to be pieces where you just get a chunk before you even start. Aesthetically, it's aesthetic. I mean, these are like the types of foods that you make and you can just leave and then come back to later, and it won't really matter that much because it's such a thick soup. So that's what you're doing. Like French people will just be, okay, I'm going to start my dinner and go out and work in the field and then come back and it'll be ready. And it doesn't matter that it's set around in the heat all day or with a fire under it or whatever. Looking good. I don't want like walls of onion. I'm just gonna call it walls. There's probably like maybe even a term for it because people have been making this for a long time. So everybody has names. Anything that's a little bit green like that, I just chunk it. We're good. We're dealing in volume here, so there's enough to make up for it. So anything that just like, if it seems a little rubbery already, because these onions, I picked the best I could find, but there was one or two that didn't feel right, but I was able to just, you can deal with it. Part of this too is because you have a large amount of onions and you want to make a lot of food for people. This is the way to go. So we want pieces that are like that. Like that. It's a big green piece that won't cook. So you're wanting it to break down. So pieces like that, more or less, that's the shape you're really going for. And it'll all cook down evenly and it'll be nice. And you won't be like, ooh, there's pieces that are weird looking or green or something like that. You don't want that. Perfect world, you grow your own onions. And they're all pretty and uniform and fresh and, you know. But not many people have time for that. Okay. My pan is starting to get hot because my puppy, whenever she smells the hot stove, the hot grill here, that odor reminds her that the smoke alarm might go off and she gets nervous, poor thing. I'm right here, baby. Nothing gonna happen to you. It's okay. Zoe is here. She's my sous chef for the day. Okay. Pan is hot. Gonna leave the heat on, take this over to the side. Let's come over here now. We're looking at the pan now. Let's get our butter out. Gonna need about a stick of butter. Okay, we don't want to burn the butter. It is getting hot. So take it off the heat for a moment. Let it break down. So we're getting our butter in there. We don't want it to burn, but we do want it to melt just a little bit. And here are our onions. Our onions. Grammar. Speech. So like I said, a stick of butter. We're going to dump in our onions. It's going to fill our pan all the way to the top. Well, here we go. Even more light. Perfect. So it's all the way to the top. That's what we want. Now we're going to cover it. If you see something like this sucker right here, don't let him get away from you. He's too green. Dump him. We're just going to cover it up for about 10 to 15 minutes, let it start cooking down, and then we'll start giving it a stir. And we're going to stir it a bunch, but let this sit for a minute. Let's take a look here. We got about 12 minutes under our belt. It's already gone down. Perfect. That's what we want. Nice uniform. I can smell some caramelization on the bottom already, so I'm going to give it a bit of a stir. There's a lot of moisture, see there? Look at that. This stuff right here, that's gold. That's what we want. That's gonna add lots and lots and lots of flavor. Look at this. That's terrific. That's flavor right there. So, we're in good shape. Give it a nice stir. Make sure there's nothing on the bottom. If there is, scrape it up and allow new stuff to form on the bottom. We're building up flavor here. It's all about building up flavor. So this is gonna take a long time. We are about 40 minutes into this whole thing now. And it's just going to take some time. The slower, the better. We really want to extract all that flavor from the onions, and then we'll be getting more flavor from the wine, but that comes in about an hour. So we'll be back. Let's take a look at this sucker. It's starting to smell like something, which is good. See if we have any more scrapings on the bottom. Let's give it a nice stir. It's already breaking down really nice. That's on low heat. So we'll probably just keep it. We'll rock on that for the rest of the day, maybe. So yeah, now we're in the stirring stage. We just got to keep everything. We want to really start breaking this down, getting a lot of this moisture out, letting it evaporate. So we're going to keep the top off. I'm going to have to look at the recipe, but we're in a stirring stage because we want to start breaking it. We want to get all of this moisture out of here. You see how it just everything starts breaking apart like that? When you have those thicker pieces, like this is a slightly thicker piece, this one will break down, but you see how it's a different color and it's holding together a little bit better. Those green ones will not even turn that color. They'll just stay like a bright green. They look weird. They don't necessarily taste that bad, but they do stick out, and you kind of go, huh? So it's just be better off not. So this was 8 onions that were about medium size. Well, you saw them. But yeah, the smell is already starting to come around. And we're starting to come together here. We're, what, 30 minutes in? I always take pictures because I forget to, I was 10, 20, yep. About almost 30 minutes in. Everything, like, this is easy. This is just time. Like the cutting the onions, just because it burns my eyes so much. So we're going to leave this open, and we're going to come back every 5 minutes or so and give it a heavy stir. And we're going to do that for the next 40 minutes or so. We want to get to the end of the first hour. So we're 30 minutes. We need to go another 30 minutes of doing that. And then we'll come back with our next ingredient, the most important ingredient, I feel. When you think of French onion soup and the smell, most of it comes from the next ingredient. How's that for cliffhanger? We're progressing really nicely here. See, it's starting to stick on the bottom just a little bit, and that's because I have it on very, very low. So we have a little bit of the caramelization of the onion. Just want to scrape that up. I'm using a wooden spoon. Give it a good stir. Yeah, we're going to be back every 5 minutes or so and giving it a nice stir. Make sure everything's looking okay. The color's already starting to get significant here. Really nice. Just looks proper. Looks the way it's supposed to, and the aroma is really starting to build. So we're gonna keep doing this. It's kind of like every 5 minutes we're gonna come back. We're just gonna give it a good stir. Okay, I mentioned this earlier, but I think one of the most important ingredients is the wine that you put in it. I have been using a Cab Franc for the last few times, and I feel that it gives me a really nice flavor. So the one I used last year has been discontinued. That's like the second time in a row where the year before I bought a wine, and I was like, oh, this is great, I'll use that one again, and it was discontinued, and then this time it happened again. So this is another wine, California, yeah, Californian wine, Cab Franc, small batch, I think it is. It's a small vineyard is what I'm trying to say. So, hopefully it's good. I have not tried it, but hopefully it's good. And we're going to use it because I feel once you add the wine, all of the traits that you normally think of French onion soup come alive. Look at that, one go. There's my cork. It smells really nice. Well, the cork, I don't know about the wine, but the cork smells delicious. So that's very good. We're gonna need about a cup. I do about a cup and a quarter, cup and a half even of wine. So that's a cup and a half. Very good. I'm gonna learn one of these days. When you think of that flavor, when you think of what French onion soup typically smells like, a lot of that comes from the wine. So this, I'm just gonna put this here, I guess like that, huh? So I'm gonna let this sit out for a little bit. I need this in about 10-15 minutes, just to let it air out for a little bit. And most importantly, get a cup for me to try. It smells really fruity, almost sweet. Like roses. Definitely has a lot of fruit notes in it. Maybe a little bit of strawberry. It's really nice. Really nice. Cheers. Dry, nice amount of dry, really nice aftertaste. Like the initial thing is kind of like dry, but not too dry though. A nice amount of sweetness at the end of it. That's really good. All right, this is going to be a good wine for our French onion soup. We've been working on this sucker for about an hour now. See how it's at a good level now. It doesn't seem like a whole lot, but this is about 8 bowls or so. Because this stuff is so rich, You don't need a whole lot, especially when we start adding more ingredients. But this is so rich. And I also put provolone cheese on top and a piece of the sourdough bread that I made. So it little goes a long way. Now we get to add our wine. So there's a little over a cup. Pour it in. Give it a stir. The odor changes, and now it's the odor. I remember the first time I made it, when this odor hit me, I'm like, oh, that's where the smell comes from. It's delightful. It smells really nice now. So make sure there's nothing on the bottom. We're gonna wanna get this back up to a boil. So I'm gonna take it up to medium. I've had it on low this whole time because it has a nice boil to it already. But I'm gonna bring this back up to a boil. Most of the alcohol is gonna burn off when we do this, which is kind of the point anyway. We just want that essence back. So we're gonna bring this up to a boil for about 10 minutes, and then we're gonna take it back down to a simmer, and then go back to stirring, and then we'll add our next ingredient in the 3rd hour. So this is coming along really nicely. That odor is solidified. It smells like French onion soup, and we're just gonna keep refining it down. We're gonna get rid of a lot of the moisture and really concentrate those flavors. It should come out really nice. If it smells as good, then it's probably gonna taste as good too, hopefully. So now we just go back to our regular stirring after the boil. Boil first. So it's been simmering for about another 20 to 30 minutes, about 25 minutes or so. We have like that much soup, so when you divide it up, it's perfect. So I have some freshly chopped garlic. The last time I did it, I just had that garlic you buy in a jar. But I was like, I have some garlic here. Let me cut this up and add that. I'm gonna raise up the heat back up to medium for a little bit. I sort of medium chopped them. I didn't really finely chop them. Now I'm looking at them, but it's fine. They'll break down because this still has another hour and a half to go. The last ingredient we're gonna add, actually it's the last one. Everything else is just thyme now. Beef broth. You can use whatever beef broth you like. This is the one that I found at the grocery store, and I think it has a good flavor to it. Gonna need 2 of these. Gonna need 8 cups. So I just used a regular full body whatever. I don't use the one. So I never have to add any more salt because the butter has salt in it, because that's the butter that I made myself, and I put salt in it. And this is salty. So I almost never add any salt to it. I think one time I did, but you really don't have to. I don't know, because with butter you can just substitute oil if you really wanted to. I'm not sure what you would substitute the beef broth to make it vegan, because if you just add vegetable stock, it'll make it taste more like just a vegetable soup at that point. So maybe there's a good vegan alternative for beef broth. I'm assuming there has to be. I just don't know what it is. So if you wanted to make this vegan, I don't think it would be that big of a deal. I think you preserve almost all the flavor. Because like I said, as long as you're okay with the wine, I don't know how you would reproduce the wine flavor. So I'm gonna move this up to a medium, let it boil. I'm gonna break this down a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. Substitutions like that, there's gotta be somebody who's done this. And that person is not me, but I would be, making a mess. Definitely be down to try out a vegan alternative to this, just to try. So this is coming along. I raised the heat back up to medium. I want this to boil for a good, maybe even 15 minutes. Just really make sure. Yeah. I let it, bring it up to a boil, let it boil for about 15 minutes, a good solid 15 minutes, and then take it back down to a simmer and let it simmer for another 30 minutes. And we're almost to the end of this thing. It's been, once you have everything together, like I said, chopping the onions is the hardest part. Everything else is just time. So I started this around 1:15. It's now 3 o'clock. By 4:30 or so, I'll have soup ready to go. So we're at like 3.5 hours now. I'm just letting it simmer for a little bit more. Everything looks pretty good. So I'm gonna let this sit like this for a little while longer, simmering at the rate it's simmering, probably for another 10 minutes or so, and then I'm gonna lower it down even more and let it sit like that for another 10 to 15 minutes. Trying to lower that level of soup just a bit more to concentrate that flavor, but everything's great. It smells terrific. Just letting it do its thing for a little bit. All right, we're here. Let's give it a taste test. Yep, smooth, buttery. It's really good. Yeah, the onions are velvety and they just dissolve on your tongue. A little bit of garlic notes here and there, which is nice. The broth is really good. Really rich, super rich. That butter, the butter that I made, added all that salt too. I was almost afraid it might be a little too salty, but I think it's right where it needs to be. This is great. So, it is kind of like, it takes like 3.5, 4 hours. So you want to nail it. You don't want to screw it up. You don't want to burn it. You want little burnt pieces. You don't need it burned the whole way. This is fantastic. This is my dinner. And look at that. I like this. I like the framing of this shot. Because I've been thinking about how I'm going to do this and how I'm going to incorporate this more into the videos because, I never had anything like this before. So it looks good. I think it looks good. That's all that matters to me.